We could call this broadcast Your Best Jeet Kune Do Definition Part 2, since the idea for this grew out of the research that I did for that issue. So let's take a look today at how we can apply JKD's principles outside of martial art if we ever wanted to be that expansive. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 162. This is the one about using or applying Jeet Kune Do principles in regular, normal, everyday life. As you're logging in, if you guys would be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the final edit video over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell over there as well. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, please visit jkdrebel.com. Click on the Rebel Gear link where you'll see stuff like this, the 4 tenets of Jeet Kune Do t-shirt available over there with other stuff. And there will be, there's going to be a major upgrade to the store over at the JKD Rebel as the weeks and the months of 2021 go forward. All right, so but of course the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. All right, so from my years of observation, people who might have a problem with the idea of Jeet Kune Do principles in normal life are the ones who see it primarily, if not solely, as a martial art method and nothing but, which is fine, because actually when you apply certain philosophical aspects of Jeet Kune Do, that enables you to accept the fact that others will not have the same point of view that you might have. Right, so let me explain. When you read Bruce Lee's writings, that Jeet Kune Do, to paraphrase the liberate yourself from classical karate, Jeet Kune Do utilizes all ways, but is bound by none. Then you start to get the idea that yeah, different people are going to have different opinions about this same issue of Jeet Kune Do. Actually, to be honest, it's quite surprising to me when you read a lot of what Bruce Lee wrote about Jeet Kune Do. It amazes me that that some people do not have a more expansive view on what it is. They just don't seem to get it. Maybe they needed to have heard or seen Bruce Lee live and in person saying these things in order for them to ultimately accept it. I guess it's more difficult if you're reading something that he wrote. The signs that in today's postcard, the signs that I used, the ones about my followers in Jeet Kune Do, the one about flower ring branches or whatever, those are not what I'm going to comment on. But since those are the only signs that I have photographs of, things, Jeet Kune Do sayings that were actually made into signs or put up in print or whatever, I use them to illustrate the message. But there are, so, you know, sometimes when I come up with an idea for the broadcast, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I think that I bit off more than I could chew. And this is one of those topics, because we could be here all day talking about examples of the application of Jeet Kune Do principles in normal life. But I'm just going to limit myself to 2 of them, and not necessarily 2 that you might think that I would go, that I would address. So for example, in the years over, I mean, I still do it to this day, even though I don't have my big school anymore. But one idea that I always made use of was the whole concept of well-roundedness in martial arts. So Bruce Lee showed that one had to be adept at the skills of punching, kicking, trapping, and weaponry, right? Now, you might prefer 1 or 2 of those skills, but it's still necessary to have a solid grounding in all of them. in my early days as an airline employee, this is how it related to me in real life. I worked at a station where in the span of one shift, 1 8-hour shift or so, you could function in as many as 4 different but related capacities. So even though my specialty was what we call operations or weight and balance, I still had to know how to work in baggage services, in reservations, in ticket counter, and I had to understand how all those things were related, since the main thing about airline work is to get planes out on time, right? So that was for me a very personal JKD relation to my real life. The other idea that I want to talk about today is that of an aggressive defense. Just those words, which are not common. I don't think I have ever read, other than in Bruce Lee's writings, the idea of an aggressive defense. I really don't, because when you think about it, those two might not be or not supposed to be complementary, or they're a little bit incongruous, right? An aggressive defense, right? Anyhow, when you think about it, though, right, it's a good way to confront any situation that might crop up in life. You don't shy away from it, from the situation, hoping that, let's say, for example, that if you ignore it, that it might go away of its own accord. Instead, you face up to it with confidence and attack it. But I put attack in inverted commas because it's not really attack. It's aggressive defense. So it's like something moved on you. Let's say that you were attacked, and so what you're employing is an aggressive defense, right? And to me, this epitomizes fearlessness in martial art, but also fearlessness in how you approach, in your approach to dealing with the things that can happen in life. Wrapped up in this idea of aggressive defense is, of course, Jeet Kune Do's principle, the 5 ways of attack, which is a much heralded aspect of the art. I think with this, Bruce Lee showed that it might not be smart to have only or always make use of one approach to the job at hand. So he gave us 5, right? In the suddenness of combat, you need to have flexibility in approach. Actually, before flexibility in approach to the suddenness of combat, you might have to have a solid grounding in the basics of combat. So now take that word combat and replace it with the word life. And we see that you need to have a solid grounding in, let's call it basic education, before moving into areas of specialization. So again, for me personally, when I look at my life again, back in Barbados, at age 9 or 10, in school, over the span of 1 week, Monday to Friday, I went to about 13 different classes spanning the areas of language, music, science, crafts, religion, and athletics. And in that educational system, you did that kind of thing for about the first 5 years. And then you spent years 6 and 7 specializing in what we call either the arts or the sciences. So again, for me, Jeet Kune Do had 100% relevance, because even my school life was about a solid grounding in basics of education before moving on to specialization. So when I look around, and I can see, right, why Jeet Kune Do is considered as just an art by some. By others, maybe outside of the art, they consider it just an idea or a philosophy. And then, of course, there are people who see it as both, right? One of my favorite books on Jeet Kune Do is titled just that, The Art and Philosophy of Bruce Lee. All right, so I'll finish with this. A paraphrase of both Bruce Lee and Dan Inosanto, because Inosanto wrote about it as well. And it says essentially that those who understand Jeet Kune Do, so this comes primarily from, Inosanto paraphrased it in his book, but it comes again from the 71 article, Liberate Yourself from Classical Karate, where Bruce Lee says, those who understand Jeet Kune Do are primarily interested in its effect or its powers of liberation when JKD is used as a mirror for self-examination. So I'm going to say that again. Those who understand Jeet Kune Do are primarily interested in its effect of liberation when Jeet Kune Do is used as a mirror for self-examination. I think this is definitely one of the most important things that Bruce Lee ever said about Jeet Kune Do. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna ask you once again. I asked this last week, and I was not at all impressed with people's reaction to it. But I'm gonna ask you once again to let me know in the comments what your approach to Jeet Kune Do is. Whether you consider it a physical art only, a philosophical approach only, or some combination of the two. All right, okay, so that's it for today. Feel free to share, like, comment, sign up for notifications when we go live here on Facebook, and please subscribe over on the YouTube channel for both the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast and the Jeet Kune Do dialogues. And when you subscribe, please be sure to hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. Coming up on Friday, January 8th. So I will be, we confirmed it with Joaquin Marcelo, but it won't be until Friday the 15th. So this Friday, we'll be doing our first 2021 episode of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with a special open discussion. My plan is to use Zoom, and that way, everybody who emails me, jkdrebel@gmail.com, you email me, I'll get you the password for the Zoom call. But that way, I can, let's call it interview, right, or interact with multiple people. And I think Zoom has I've never used it, but I think Zoom has a raise your hand function, so that when it, if one person has something to say or a question to ask or whatever, then we can kind of zoom in on them, right? So if you're interested in that, please email me, jkdrebel@gmail.com. And once I've set up the call, I'll email you back the password for it. That'll be this Friday at 6 p.m. Right? Today is a gray day. All right, there you go. Okay, so I'll see some of you Friday at 6 p.m. The rest of you I'll see next week for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Until then, we're under some trying times here today up in Washington, D.C., and hopefully this stuff will sort itself out. So steel your mind, right? Don't let all this stuff get to you. Believe me, this is still a great country. It could be a lot worse if we were in another part of the world, right? So you guys take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. Take care now. Do this. This is not quite engaño, but it's an example, right? So, the half response, full response. So, half response, full response. Half response, full. Half response, full. Half response, full. Half response, full. Right? There's always that. You see? So same thing here. So the rule is, when I hit from over here, zone right. That's the rule. But now, he accelerates his timing and he moves into it and catches me before I get to 100. But the rule is to zone to 0 over here. But he decides to zone to 0 over there.